Hey guys, welcome along. Welcome back to the channel. Part 13, unlucky for some, of this. This is the Monty's Humber from Airfix. So, where are we now? I've got the body basically all assembled, and we've got the handles on and everything, if you remember that from the last part. And the other thing we did was the windscreen. If you remember, it was all, the moulding was awful. Well, if you look at it now, you can see that it's... we've still got some scratching there, but this is after a couple of dips in future floor polish. That's basically sort of pretty much there, but it's not a very nice moulding. You can see it's got imperfections in it, and there's actually imperfections in the plastic, I believe. So no matter how much I sand, how much I polish, it's still going to be there. So and you can see the distortion here is, looking at the model through there, is awful. I mean, if we look at it even close up, we've got distortion, so it's not the best. I'm going to be doing this with the roof up, so it's not really going to be seen much anyway. So I'm going to have to mask that and paint that. Painted this part here, which goes on the back there, and painted the steering wheel. That's all done now. Bumpers are all painted, ready to be glued on. Headlights, if you remember, they're done and masked up and everything. So really this video is going to be about final assembly and getting it all painted up. And I guess I'm going to have to try and do something with this roof. I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about it. I need to get rid of those ejector pin marks on the inside of there and get some painting done. So I'm just going to basically get on and get this put together, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so this is going beyond beginner level here, but I'm just going to show you how I've overcome a problem. Let me move on to here. We've got this bit here where you've got a frame that supports the glazing, which is open to protect the passenger, or with the roof up, we've got this here with the glazing folded down. So obviously this is what I'm going to be doing. Now this part here unfortunately was broken in the kit. You can see it, I don't know if you can picture it, it was snapped there, and it was snapped in both places. So glued it all back together, but it's very, very flimsy and it's not straight and doesn't want to sit straight. So what I've done is I've cut out, there we go, it's broken again. I've cut out this second plastic part here, and I'm going to replace it with a piece of brass rod, which is obviously a lot stronger, and it will be nice and straight as well, and it hasn't got the great big mould seams down the sides. So what I've done is actually cut that piece out. I measured it first, and the distance between those two interfaces is 27.2 millimeters. So I've sanded a bit off of there now where I've cleaned up, so I'll probably make it about 27.3, but it's, you know, neither here nor there. 0.1 is actually about the thickness of one of the hairs on your head, so it's not a massive amount. Then I've drilled 0.85 holes. I measured this piece of plastic, and this was 0.8 diameter, so I'm using 0.8 brass rod. So I've drilled holes in each side using a 0.85 drill, and I've gone about, I don't know, about half a millimeter deep, and just sort of basically gone in and just drilled away just to get the something for the brass rod to locate in. Then I've cut this brass rod off to, you can see here, it's 29 millimeters all but. So what I'm going to do is just put this piece of brass rod in there, like so, and then slot it into the hole on the other side. It's easier said than done, like that, and then I'm going to hold it together and measure the distance. What I'm looking for is 27.3. I've actually got 26.9, so I'm a little bit too short, so that's okay. What I'll do is I'm going to get my super glue, if it needs gluing. That's in there quite nice and snug. So I'm going to get my super glue. I'm going to use a medium rather than a thin, And I would normally decant this, but what you can do, because it's just this one piece of brass, I'm just going to go, it's just air coming out at the moment, wait for the glue to come, there we go. Just a drop on there, which is absolutely fine. And then just push that into that hole. And that will dry in seconds. There we go. Now I can open this up. Get that in to pop in as well. There we go, like so. Just give it a little tweak, make sure it's all nice and true and everything. Let that go off for a couple of seconds like that. Now I can get my vernier and I can measure once again. I mean, I'm using a vernier, you don't need to, you could use a rule. In fact, it's not a vernier, is it? It's a digital caliper. So that's 27.3 there. So what I can do now is just on the top of my knife blade, just put a little drop on there, and then I can just, using that knife blade, just touch it on there, and the capillary action will pull it into the hole. I can perhaps put a little bit more on that side as well. And there we go. That's a good little tip about using a knife blade, because it's good to get super glue into runs, if you want to, into like a run. So just going to pull that apart. Here we go. 27.2. It's pulling back in. So just give it a little tweak. There we go. 27.2, there we go. So that's that done. And as we can see, let's give that a twist. That is now a lot more rigid, and actually looks a lot better as well with that, rather than having the seams. There's a lot of cleanup required on this one little part, so take your time, get it right. You know, we've come a long way. We've done a lot of little modifications and made the model into a lovely little build. So yeah, if you want to do that, I mean, you could use stretch sprue. I need to give that another tweak, don't I? It's taken on a twist. I would replace this rod here as well, but unfortunately it's a little awkward. Those tiny little couplings there make it quite awkward to actually glue the rod in, so I won't bother. I mean, if it was on the outside, if it was stuck on the back of the car or something, I probably would, but this inside, it's hardly going to be seen. It sort of sits in there like that, so it's not really going to be seen. So there we go, guys. So now we're going to look at getting some masking done. Right, let's have a look at some masking. So this little window that goes inside, we'll do this one first. So what I'm going to do is just get a piece of masking tape, stick it over the top like that. That's fine. And then I need to get myself a toothpick, a nice new one, not a used one. You need a sharp point on the end. And what I'm going to do is, just using the toothpick, is just burnish the, or rather than burnish, rub the masking tape into the edges where I want to cut. That way I can make sure that I'm into all the corners, and it makes it easy then for the next step. The other way, of course, you could do this is measure it and make a piece up. And another way you could do it is use pieces of tape to make up the rectangle. I'm just going to peel it away. I think there's something under the tape there. Maybe that's better. I think it was an air bubble. So that's all pushed into the corners now, nice and sharp. That gives me something to follow along. And with a nice fresh blade, what we can do now is, the easiest way to do this is hold it up to the light, but I don't have that luxury while I'm showing you guys. So if I slip, it's because I'm trying to do it on camera and it's not easy. All I'm doing is just following along the indentation that is formed by pushing that tape into the corner. See, I slipped off there. Not putting any pressure on them. When you do slip, it doesn't really mark anything. And if you do slip, it's best to slip out rather than slip in, because obviously if you slip inwards, you'll scratch your clear part. There we go, just going along that edge like that. Now we should be able to peel the tape back, and there's our mashed part. And what we can do then is just with this cocktail stick again, just go over and burnish it back in. Now I need to do something there because where I slipped I've got a step, if you see. Now what I'm going to do is just see if I can go over that again. It may blend in. Yeah, this is because I'm usually working through a magnifier and stuff. That's why I can't really see what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to have to do this off camera because it's a very, very faint edge. Normally you get a very sharp edge and the blade will just follow its own path. So I'm going to have to do that again. I'll do it off camera, but you get the idea. You can see that basically all I'm doing is pushing the knife into the corner that I've just done. Okay, moving forward. So that's the windows all masked up now, and I've glued the rear sort of screen to the framework there, and that framework will just sit in behind those seats like so. So we'll paint that separately and put it in afterwards. In fact, I'll probably paint that, put it in, and then paint the whole car. We've also got a few little bits and pieces to add to the body. Start looking at the soft top. You need to be careful how you remove those sprue nibs on the side because there's some stitching there that you'll easily sand away if you're not careful. And also the ejector pin marks on the inside. If you want to get rid of them, best way is with a number 10 blade, just one more number 10. Other manufacturers have different numbering systems, but basically a curved blade like so, and you can just go in there and just gently scrape away at those ejector pin marks. Now, as I say, you're not looking for perfection because basically it's inside the roof, so that's that. It's not, you know, it's not 100%. It's not got to be absolutely perfect. So there we go. So just sand that away like that. And then they'll be gone. There we go, that's good enough for them. There are also some large seam lines on the inside of this window aperture which need to be cut away to make the rear panel fit. Then here's the little piece of glazing in the back with the good old mould line going through the middle of it, which is lovely. Such a shame. And the need to be careful which way around this goes. Now you've got a, I don't know if you're going to pick it up on the camera, but the angle of the glass is it's slanted so it slots in, and basically the larger flange goes at the top. Now if you put it in like so, you will find that, I don't know if you can see it there, but the glass doesn't sit flush. So my recommendation, try it upside down. I don't think it'll fit well at all upside down. No, it sits too deep in. My recommendation would be to remove that flange on the top. I'm also going to do a little bit more cleanup down in the corners on this, just to make sure it's properly cleaned out in there. And then course, we're not after an absolute perfect fit, because I'm guessing this would have been a stitched in piece of glass, or maybe even some sort of other polycarbonate or something. Not sure what they had available in those days, or if, you know, they used it on motor vehicles. But people often forget these days what skills and techniques people had. I was looking on a Jeep forum the other day, and somebody was talking about some extruded steel sections. Well, I don't think they did extrusion in those days. I can assure you the whole of the Jeep is made of steel pressings. So that's basically how that's going to fit in there. That's upside down, and I think that's the best we're going to get. Or we can put it in the right way up and remove that flange. The trouble is, it sits so far deep in, it makes it look like the soft top is about, you know, a scale sort of 2 inches thick, and it's not. It would have been very, very flush on the back. So I'm just going to remove that top piece, that upper flange, so I can just get into the corner of my knife, just lightly scribe away until it eventually breaks off. If you have a saw, you could use a saw, but this won't take very long at all. I could do replacing this blade actually. So that's that gone. So now what I should be able to do is slot this in there. I've got it upside down. No, I haven't. Just push it in. Yeah, it's still not going in quite right. I'm going to sand some material from the top. Bearing in mind it's on an angle, so we need to keep that angle on there. That should fit a little better now. What I'm trying to achieve is a kind of flush fit, or at least parallel with the outer skin. So what I need to do is remove some more material from the top to get it to sit more flush in. So I'll carry on doing that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you the result. Okay, and there we go. All I've done is just, let's check you're in focus here. All I've done is just sanded some more off the top of that glass, so you can see it sort of sits parallel in there now, rather than all wedged and sitting 2 miles in from the surface. So all I need to do is get a little bit of extra thin and just work up to it from the inside edge and just dab it in like that. I'm touching the plastic first and walking over towards the clear, so I don't get any glue actually on the surface, and then don't touch it. That's my big thing with clear, don't touch it. As soon as you touch that, you run the chance of having the risk of having the capillary action pull the glue up over the clear part of your finger. You also have oozing out or something, so just leave that to go off for half an hour and don't touch it. So that's that done. So that's that ready for painting. That's going to sit on there looking lovely. So now what we've got to look at doing is getting all these little parts on. So we'll keep you on the camera for this one. So I'm looking at the headlights now. Let's just tip all this out of here. So I've got these little red marker panels, which I'm not going to be putting on yet, so I'll leave them off. I need to paint the back of those. So I've got the steering wheel there, which I'm going to leave off. I've got the headlights need to go on, so we'll get them on. Now I'm just going to remove some paint. It's very, very thin, the paint here. And if you remember what I did in the last video, I painted the underneath of the headlights and the area that the headlights are going to cover. There we go, just scrape some paint off of there. And then I'm just going to check how these things are going to fit. I guess they're just going to sit on top of those posts like that, I guess. Okay, so this is taking a chance now. Just going to put a little bit of extra thin on there, and then get the headlight, just slot it on like so. And then before we start doing the alignment, I'll get the other one on as well. Drop a glue on there. Okay, now looking at it from above, I can take care of the steering of the headlights. If you like, make sure they're facing forward, and they are. And then from the side, I want them to be not looking up into space. I want them to be looking straight ahead or even slightly downwards for a more authentic look. Yeah, that one's going to come off because the glue, they haven't got a very good location, if I'm honest. I think they could have put a pin in them or something. Maybe I should have done that, put a brass peg in there. But once they're on, they're not going to go anywhere. Quite not very interesting viewing for you, I'm sorry guys, but this is all part of the whole process of getting it to look right. And there we go. I think that's about, yeah, I want to tip that one over some more. What I'm looking for is an equal gap in here on both sides. So as I say, the location could have been a lot better, but not to worry, it is what it is. We've got what we've got. So now that they're on, I can take some more extra thin and just make sure I get a good drop in there, because you don't want these falling off, and we need to make sure we don't get any underneath that masking tape. There we go, like so. Now I've touched the glue on there. Hopefully that will just dry back to nothing. If it doesn't, I'll just have to give it a quick polish before we paint. But it's matte green anyway, so there we go. So that's the headlights on. Now another couple of things we need to look at here is the mirrors. Now they're going to be painted green as well, so we may as well get them on at the same time. And we have nearly finished assembly, so there's not much chance of them getting knocked off. So we'll get the mirrors off the sprue. I've got another little part there. I think that's the handle for the boot lid I need to get on there. So we'll keep that out. Give these a bit of a clean up. They've got mould seams all around them, which is only to be expected for a kit of this age. Just gently sand away, get rid of those mould seams. Soften up the edges a bit. There we go. Right, so that's them all cleaned up, and I've got that little handle off for the boot as well. So let's go on and get these parts assembled. So I'll get my extra thin over here where I need it. So I'm just going to put a drop of extra thin in that hole there, and then nice little pair of tweezers, just glue that into that hole. That'll just sit there, and then once the glue's dry, then I can give it some give it a bit of a clean up. It needs a bit of a clean up on that front face. Now to get to these mirrors, you can see the mirrors differ. If I have them both around here facing you, you can see one has the leg going down and one has the leg to the side. Obviously the one with the leg to the side is going to go into the side of the body, so I'm just going to put a little spot of glue in there into the lower hole, not the upper one. The upper hole's for the whoops, a bit too much glue on there, I think. The upper hole is for the windscreen, so that's going to go in there, and I'm just going to let that glue dry, and that shouldn't leave a mark or anything. If it does, I'll polish it out. This is one of the problems of having a nearly full tub, and this mirror here is going to go into this hole in the top of the fender wheel arch, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on. That one's going to be angled back like so. Okay, so we just get them. Has that one gone down in properly? I'm not sure that it has. Yes, it has. So that one's on like that, that one's on like that. Job done. And you can see that glue mark is near enough disappeared. If you just leave it, don't touch it, don't do anything with it, just leave it. So that's there, and that mirror can go like so. Right then, now we can put these bumpers on because we've painted them, so we've now not got any worries about not being able to get access to the rear parts and everything. Now this front bumper, maybe I should have put the bumpers on before I fitted the mirrors. This bumper just goes in under here and glues up into those two little recesses, so it's not a very positive connection. I'm just going to scratch some paint off with the end of my tweezers, and then just with a sanding stick just get the paint off of those areas there. Now I think I'll use my quick setting for this, so I'll put a drop in there. It is a warm day, so this is probably going to go off before I can even get the part on there. I need to top up my bottle again as well. Yeah, it's not working, it's too warm. It's one of the problems with the quick setting, it dries so fast, which I guess is why it's called quick setting, eh? Clever me. Now what I should be able to do is get some of this on there and just put it in now afterwards. I'm just going to give them a little nudge to make sure they're down in. And there we go, that's on. Just let that dry for a second. Now the rear bumper is a lot more positive. We've actually got pin connections on here, and the rear bumper goes on with the mudguard, the number plate facing upwards. So it goes with this hole here for the 5-star badge is on the left hand side, on the passenger side in the UK. So I'm just going to clip that into those holes like so, and it will stay there on its own. And then get the extra thin quick setting and just dab that in there like so, and then that will be permanently fixed in place. So there we go, we've got our boot handle on, we've got our mirrors on, and we've got our bumpers on. And now finally just going to put these kickboards on. Now these fit in, that's the other side, these fit into these slots here in the chassis, and they're a lovely fit, and they just go in like so. So I'm just going to scrape a little bit of paint out of those. And then what I can do is just slot these in, wrong side again. I can just slot these in like so, get me extra thin, just put a drop down in on top of there. Again, I'm using the quick setting. The shaking you can hear is just me trying to get some glue on the brush, and I got too much there. This is the problem with using these bottles when they're running low. You shake the bottle, you can pull the bristles out a bit further, but I find, well, I have found in the past that the bristles have actually fallen off into the bottom of the bottle, and then they're difficult to retrieve, so I don't bother doing that anymore. So just put a few drops down in there. Like so. And there we go. So that's that in. And then this piece here is going to be glued onto the back here. And then when the roof goes on, you're not hardly going to see any of it. So what I'm going to do is just use my ordinary Tamiya extra thin and just put a brush full down the back, just to hold that in place. And then just as a double check, I'm just going to check the canvas roof is going to fit. It's not in the way, that's correct. And I've just noticed there's a, when that's on, there's a gap there around the back end, you can see when the roof's on, so I'll have to make sure that all inside there is all painted nicely and everything. So that's that in place. So there we are, guys. The build is finished. There are no more parts to go on other than fitting the windscreen, fitting this internal frame, putting the roof on, and one more part, the rear light. I'm going to call this video to an end at this point because I need to ask a question. The rear light here, see if I can get it in focus so I can show you it. Part number 82 here is a D-shaped light, and in the instructions I think they tell you to paint it red. I can only find one picture of the back of this car in real life, and that light is not red. It is the same colour as the rest of the vehicle, lustreless olive drab, or SCC 15, whatever, 22, sorry. I can't find a picture of this light online. I know what the American blackout lights look like. Can somebody please tell me what this light should look like, or give me a link to a picture of it, because I'm not sure if it's supposed to be red underneath, just red on a small portion on the back. Is it black? Is it like a gloss black until it's illuminated, then it shows up red? Can you please, can somebody please help me here, because you know, we've come this far, we've done a lot of little corrections, and this has turned out to be a really nice little model actually for what it is, as old as it is and everything. It's turned out to be a lovely little model, and it's going to look great sat on its wheels. So I want to make sure I get it right. I'm not going to be putting these side panels in, basically because they're awful. This one's got a mould line running through it there. This one's got a mould line running through it there. They're really thick. They need a good clean up and polish. And yeah, they're not the best, so I'm not going to use them. I'm just going to have it like this with the sides open. If you do it as a convertible with the roof down, there are no side frames or anything, so obviously all the frames either clipped out or were wound down into the door. So basically I'm just going to leave it with them out, because you don't have to have them. We'll just think it's a lovely hot summer's day, and Monty wanted some shade, so there we go. Roof up with the with this bit folded up and inside, and no side windows in at all. So there we go, guys. I'm going to call that a day for this video. Just give you a quick look at how it's going to look with the wheels on. It is a lovely looking model. There we go. We can see there it's lovely with the roof on. Very, very nice little car. Look great with the Lancaster, this one. So because it's 32nd scale. So there we go, guys. That is that for this video, I'm afraid, because I need to know before I go any further what that rear light looks like. Please somebody help me out. I can't find anything. So we'll call that a day for this one, and then in part 13 we will finish. Okay. What I may do is go on now off camera and paint these clear parts with the green framework, so I can get them on in part 13, and then we can finish the whole model off, get it all painted and everything. So I'll see you all then, guys. So thanks for watching, and as I say, please let me know what this rear light looks like, and don't forget to hit that like button as well. Please hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. See you all soon. Bye bye.